with that weed whacker.
Okay, so we're going to be calling to order here shortly.
Okay.
Okay, since it's 5 o'clock and we have a quorum, I'm going to call the meeting to order. Next item of the agenda, Pledge of Allegiance. I'd like to invite everyone to stand.
To the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Roll call, Jason.
Sarah Sarda.
Here.
Terry Crandall.
Here.
Kathy Greenaway.
Winded in here.
Franny Kiefer is absent tonight, and Jill Sternquist.
Here. A quorum has been determined. Next, we'll go to approval of the agenda. This is an
Motion.
action.
Second.
It's been motioned and second. All those in favor?
Aye.
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 Aye. Motion passes. Approval of minutes from the June 14th, 2021 school board meeting.
I move we approve the minutes.
Second. Roll call, Jason.
Crandall.
Yes.
Greenaway.
Yes.
Sarda.
Yes.
And Sternquist.
Yes. Next is conflicts or disclosures. Is there anyone that has a conflict they would like to disclose? Seeing none, we'll move on to approval of the financial statement for June 2021 and bills for July 2021.
Motion to approve.
Second.
Second. Oops, sorry.
Roll call, Jason.
Greenaway.
Yes.
Crandall.
Yes.
Sarda.
Yes.
And Sternquist.
Yes. Next, we'll have the oath of office.
Okay, I would invite Kathy Greenaway and Dr. Sternquist to the front. Try to do this mobily here. Okay, so I'll stand in between. And if you would, we're just going to recite what we have here for our traditional school board member pledge. So if you would, please raise your right hand. I, please state your name, do solemnly swear
I, Kathy Greenaway, do solemnly swear
to support the Constitution of the United States and the Constitution of the State of South Dakota,
to support the Constitution of the United States and the Constitution of the State of South Dakota,
and will faithfully and impartially perform the duties as a member of the school board of the Yankton School District 63-3,
and will faithfully and impartially perform the duties as a member of the school board of the Yankton School District 63-3,
to the best of my ability and in accordance with laws now in effect and hereafter to be enacted during my continuance in office.
to the best of my ability and in accordance with the laws now in effect and hereafter to be enacted during my continuance in office.
Very good. So certificates of election to Dr. Sternquist. So there you go. Congratulations. And to Kathy Greenaway. Congratulations. 3 more years.
All right.
Thank you very much.
Okay, next item on the agenda, we are going to adjourn the 2021 board meeting for reorganization.
I move we adjourn.
Second?
Roll call?
Crandall.
Yes.
Greenaway.
Yes.
Sarda.
Yes.
And Sternquist.
Yes.
Okay, now to open up the 2021-22 school year, as business manager, I will assume the gavel temporarily until we can get a school board president in place. So with that, at this time, I would open the floor for nominations for the chair of school board president. Are there any nominations from the floor?
I move we nominate Dr. Jill Sternquist.
Second.
Okay,
Roll
there's
call.
been a motion and a second. Are there any other nominations for president? Hearing none, would it be okay to move as a unanimous ballot since we have a motion and a second?
I move we approve it in unanimous ballot.
Second.
Okay, with that, I'll call the roll. Crandall,
Yes.
Greenaway,
Yes.
Sarda,
Yes.
and Sternquist.
Yes.
Congratulations, Dr. Sternquist, as president of the school board. Okay, with that, you can assume the chair and resume the meeting.
Next item on the agenda, we will nominate and elect vice president.
I make a motion that we nominate Franny Kiefer for vice president.
Second?
Roll call, Jason?
Greenaway,
Yes.
Crandall,
Yes.
Sarda,
Yes.
Sternquist.
Yes. Next item on the agenda, the consent agenda. Do we have any additions or things we'd like to remove from the consent agenda?
I move we approve the consent agenda.
Second.
Roll call, Jason?
Crandall,
Yes.
Greenaway,
Yes.
Sarda,
Yes.
Sternquist.
Yes. Now is the time in the agenda we have for public comment. Jason, do we have anybody sign up for public comment?
No, we did not.
Next on the agenda, we have good news and student achievement. Dr. Kindle would like to talk about the Yankton Youth Trap Team.
Yes, I would. Thank you. So tonight we have in our presence, we have the Yankton High School trap shooting team, and they have some really exciting news to share. I think Todd Becker was going to come up and speak a little bit about the team, and we want to congratulate you. They are state champions, but we're going to hear a little bit more about our players from Todd, if he could come up. While Todd's on his way up, I just want to remind everybody, I think it's been, and maybe Todd will touch on this, but I think it's been maybe 4 years ago or so that we were presented, or the school board was, with the idea of forming a trap shooting team for Yankton High School. And the board unanimously approved that. It's had support from myself and our activities director. And in just a short amount of time, as we see here tonight, they've done a really tremendous job. So we're going to let Todd tell us a bit more about that. Welcome, Todd.
Before Todd starts, I just wanted to mention that Mike Rockney was the one who made that presentation that evening. Mike has passed away since, and in a lot of ways, what you've done this year and what you've done in previous years honors Mike. And I want to thank you and thank you all for what you've done regarding the memory of Mike Rockney. Thank you.
Hello, everybody. I'm Todd Becker. I'm the head coach for the trap team, the YHS trap team. A little bit about the team. I'll tell you how we organized and how we did in the season. And if we have a little time here, maybe one of the athletes would like to comment on how they're doing with it. So I thank the school board for approving this in 2017 under Mike Rockney that passed away. It's a great program that he started, and I appreciate that. In our team, we have 15 staff members, from coaches to range safety, scorekeepers that are always there at each event. Safety is our #1 concern. And this is with the Isaac Walton League and the Jim River Trap Range. The president, Jim Barger, giving us the range time for the youth to shoot on Sunday. Many of the local conservation organizations and businesses in the area do support the youth team to keep our costs down, because there is a considerable amount of cost in this. And most of all the athletes showing their interest in the sport of trap shooting and their concern and their attention to safety, because safety is the #1 thing of trap shooting. And then comes fun, and then comes the competitiveness. So in the spring, this year we had 43 sign up for trap, and we had 11 sign up for skeet, from 7th grade through 12th grade. This is the first time that Yankton had a team participate in the skeet discipline, which went very well. We are shooting under the U.S. Clay Target League, which is a national organization that is, everything's laid out of how we should follow safety, scoring, handling of firearms, and how the program should run. The training is something all the staff and the athletes have to pass before they can even be on the team. This year, South Dakota had 1,345 trap shooters from 49 schools in the state. In the new discipline of skeet, which we took advantage of, there was 58 shooters in skeet from 8 schools. So how our events go, we do team shooting at home, which is a virtual thing. So we're at home doing a virtual every week. This year was 5 weeks, normally it's 8 weeks. We are set up in a conference by the size of our group of shooters. Next year, maybe we'll have a small group, so they scale us up to other sizes of schools with the same amount of group of ours is 43 this year. This year, throughout the season, the trap team placed second in the state, and the skeet team placed 4th for the season. On the top 100 of South Dakota of these youth placed at these levels, Tanner Becker, he placed 9th. Landon Moe placed 27th. Keegan Holmstrom placed 54. Peyton Silvernell, 79. Haley McLeod was 79th. And in skeet, again, the new shooting was Tanner Becker in first. That's out of 1,345 of the state. So they did very well to hold their ground here. We had 6 youth from our team qualify for the All-State, and that was real good. Landon Moe, Haley McLeod, Keegan Holmstrom, Peyton Silvernell, Tanner Becker, and they had to maintain an average of 21.4 or greater, and they succeeded there. So in June, we have our state competition. Anybody on the league that signed up can participate. They don't have to qualify to go to state. We have 3 levels of shooting, novice, junior, and varsity, like similar to other sports. As they shoot through the season, they're categorized. This year we had 20 athletes sign up to go to Aberdeen, South Dakota on June 13th. The skeet team this year had to shoot 100 targets. We had some straights. Straights is when you get them all in a row. You shoot 25, and if you can get all in a row, you get patches for that, awards. So this year for the 25, we had Landon Moe and Tanner Becker in the skeet. They got a patch. We had high gun for the state. Our varsity female was Kalea Thone. She got second place in the state with a score of 78. Varsity male was Tanner Becker, got second place with a score of 96. And our novice, Jonathan Lislis, he got first place with 73. And then our trap team. Our trap team over the years has been getting second and third. So finally this year we placed first place in the state for our trap team. There again they shot 100 targets. The straights, there was a 50 straight for Tanner Becker, Landon Moe, and Ben Rumsey. We had many 25 straights with Tanner Becker, Lucas Cordell, Landon Moe, Ben Rumsey, and Peyton Silvernell. We had high gun, varsity male was Tanner Becker with second place of that of 97. So this year we did a first place in our trap team. So very proud of them. Would any of our youth like to say anything about trap shooting? You can stand from there. You enjoy it? They enjoy it. I never have any problem showing up for our times of shooting. They're like tea times, so they're all scheduled to keep things safe, 5 at a time. Not the whole group comes in, so it's a controlled environment, and everybody shows up. So thanks again. That's how our season went.
Congratulations on all your hard work, and
Thank you.
we're very proud of what you're doing for Yankton.
I do have a question, though.
Oh.
So I know that there's inquiring minds out there that want to know this question, and I'm asking for them. What's the difference between trap and Skeet?
Okay.
Because
Trap
you have
and-
two different teams, right? You have a trap team and you have a Skeet team?
Yeah, this year we had a skeet team, and we just let the upperclassmen, the 11th and 12th grade, try it because it's new. It's a different way of organizing the group, safety and so forth. But in trap, you have a house out in front of you, and in that house is a machine that throws out these orange round discs, and it can throw it 5 different ways. You don't know which way it's going to go. And then you have a half circle back in front of it, and there's 5 posts. You shoot 5 targets, 5 targets, 5 targets. And as you rotate around, you're at different angles, kind of like the outdoors of hunting in South Dakota. They come different ways. That's trap. In the skeet world, there's 2 houses. One's a high house and one's low. And they're standing out there. They throw a low target, and then the high house throws a high. So there you again, you have a half circle, and you go around this half circle so you get different angles as you see things. And when they're flying through the air, sometimes you have to lead them 4 foot, sometimes it's, 6 inches, might be below it, and they have to do all that mental calculation within a split second, so. And keeps them focused. There's no talking in between this.
All right, thank you.
You bet.
I did have one other quick thing that I think is important for all of you to know is that Ryan Moores, our activities director, and I visited, and I think maybe he got a hold of Coach Becker, that we will have a ceremony where we'll drop a championship banner in our gym. So we think that this is just as important as any other activity that we have. It involves a lot of kids, so we'll keep in contact with when we do that. So again, congratulations.
Next, Mr. Bestie with Good News and Student Achievement.
Good evening. I think Jason is going to maybe throw some pictures up here, but our elementary playgrounds, when the students and children have a chance to go outside and play, have a very similar priority set as what Mr. Becker had described for the trap team. Safety being number 1 and fun being number 2. And so when we looked to identify some ways to improve the Lincoln Playground in conjunction with our maintenance department, we found some areas that previously had been encapsulated with the black plastic surround along with the rubber chipping, but we had a couple areas that did not have that children use quite extensively, and of course throughout the course of play, inevitably there's going to be a fall or a stumble or things like that, and you want the tears and the scrapes to be lessened as much as possible. And so there's a couple areas here that had not had that rubber chipping down that the maintenance team did a fantastic job of laying down. And of course, some of that, there's a portion of it that might be aesthetic, where you got some uniformity throughout the playground that we didn't have before, and it does look pretty sharp. However, the primary reason for making this improvement was the safety of our children. I know Jim is gonna be a little more broad and in-depth as far as the summer improvement projects that they've been working on this whole summer, but this is a prime example of the good work that they do throughout the district, kind of behind the scenes as we prepare for another year with students. So very good stuff going on out back at Lincoln Elementary, and we look forward to getting some kids running around on there sometime soon. I would entertain any questions you have. Other than that, feel free to stop over and check it out and get up on that spider web sometime. Absolutely. All kinds of fun to be had. So,
Thanks,
thank
Mr.
you.
Bestie. Next up is Mr. Mitzel.
Good evening. I'm just going to share a little bit about what our teachers have been up to this summer. Sometimes we get the question from the public, well, what are you doing this summer? Or what do you do all summer? And I will let you know that we have lots of staff members that have been very busy. Some of the things that they've been involved in is the South Dakota Teacher Mentoring Program. And that's for first and second year teachers are matched with mentors in our schools, and they attend training throughout the summer to help new to the profession teachers, so they have some guidance, and then they stay with them for those first 2 years of teaching. We have teachers that have been involved with the specialized classroom management program through Boys Town down in Omaha, and those are teachers that work with students that might have emotional and behavioral challenges, so they've had some extra instruction in that. We've had staff that have been part of different options of responsive classroom and helping students with social and emotional learning. And there have been different options for them to take, whether it be a 1-day or a 4-day or an advanced course. Teachers have been involved with foundational reading courses. Some have been working on becoming Google certified. And then we have teachers that are working on master's degrees or advanced degrees or just continuing education hours. So there's a lot of things going on during the summer that oftentimes people don't know about, but our teachers are heavily invested into continuing their education and trying to get better throughout these summer months. Any questions for me?
Thank you, Mr. Mitzel.
Thank you.
Next up, we have a policy discussion regarding medication administration revision, and I'm going to pass this one over to Dr. Kindle.
Okay, thank you. Sheila Woodward, who is representing our school attorney's firm, is going to step up and visit with the board a little bit about the couple of options that we have regarding our revisions to our medication administration policy. And maybe just a quick little background that initiated Measure 26, which was a ballot measure in 2020, passed, and therefore it legalized marijuana medical use in the state. And therefore, the implication for the school was that we needed to then update our policy on medication administration. So Sheila and I have been communicating quite a bit, I'd say in the last month or so. And as of Friday, there was even more updates Friday, which you had in your board packet today. So I'll let Sheila kind of give us a little overview.
Thanks, Dr. Kindle. This policy is designed to address students who have medically prescribed cannabis. Just like any other prescription drug, essentially. The Department of Education, as Dr. Kindle said, they passed some regulations to go to the interim legislative committee. The interim legislative committee rejected them, and they sent them back, and the Department of Ed had another meeting on Friday, and they're sending proposed regulations back to the interim legislative committee that are supposed to be, I believe on July 19th is when the committee is meeting. So what you have in front of you is a policy drafted based on regulations that are not yet final. But because of the timing of the school board meeting and the need to read the policy twice, we wanted to get this to you so you could take a look at it. I am not anticipating any further changes. The legislative committee rejected the initial regulations based on not defining public versus non-public schools and what was covered by the regulations, which really doesn't have any impact on the Yankton School District, and so that's where a lot of the changes were made. But you have two proposed policies in front of you because there are some options. Under the regulations, the school district is required to allow designated caregivers, which would presumably be a parent or a guardian, come to campus to deliver and administer medical cannabis to a student who has a medical prescription and all that record on file. You also can authorize school personnel to administer medical cannabis to the students who all have to have provided all the necessary paperwork to do that. So really your choice is whether you just limit the administration of medical cannabis to the designated caregiver, or if you allow both the designated caregiver and school personnel to be authorized to do that. The regulations are pretty, they're very similar for both of them. There has to be a valid, I'm saying prescription, and they told me not to say prescription because it's not a prescription drug. Maybe Dr. Sternquist can help me, but you have to have valid authorization from a medical provider. The cannabis has to be non-smokable. It's got to be in a non-smokable form. No one's gonna be walking around smoking marijuana in the school buildings. And there's, if school personnel, if you elect to allow school personnel to do it, it can only be on a volunteer basis. You can't force anyone in the school district to do it. And if they do it, then there has to be a place to lock the medical cannabis up, either in probably the principal's office or someplace where when it's not being administered, it's locked and secure in a storage location. If the designated caregiver brings it, they have to administer it and then leave and take, any extra medical cannabis with them. So that really your choice is, do you want to limit it to designated caregivers, or do you want to expand it to give permissive use to school personnel to distribute it as well?
This is probably not a question for you, Sheila, but I'm just wondering, given the situation with Sha'Carri Richardson, who was banned from the Olympics for using marijuana, she was doing it, she was self-prescribed it, but my question would be, is there anything in activities policy or state activities policy that would preclude a student who is in an activity from taking medical marijuana?
I know the answer to that, actually, and I think Dr. Kendall does too, because he and Dr. Moores and I had email about this earlier. Right now, the high school administration policy prohibits illegal marijuana. So if you're under the influence of drugs that are criminal in South Dakota, then you're prohibited under the policy. There's nothing that's come out yet on medical marijuana, to me, if it's prescribed and in that situation, I don't think it'd be any different than any other prescription drug, probably, but there's been nothing from the South Dakota High School Activities Association that we're aware of yet. We are watching that. There is something in the new regulations that generally allow a school district to make regulations regarding school-sponsored activities, but it's very vague, and I can't make heads or tails out of it. I am waiting for I think we have to wait for the High School Activities Association to speak on that. Is that fair, Dr. Kendall?
Yeah, that's fair. And just so we don't confuse what we're doing tonight is just I don't want to say distribution of marijuana, the administration of medical marijuana at school. And then I think we'll come back to that one, Terry. That's a good question, because we're working on that other one too that you asked about, and I think we'll have an answer for it hopefully sooner than later. But I just wanted a point of clarification. When we get back to the administration of the medical marijuana at school, we cannot have our school nurses do it. Like, we can't say school nurses will be doing this. I just want to be clear on that for the board.
That is correct. The school nurse could say, I don't want to do it, and you can't require them to do it. The other thing, Dr. Kendall, they made a big deal about saying medical cannabis, not medical marijuana, in the same way that it's not a prescription. I listened to the Department of Education meet on Friday, and they in fact changed the regulations where they had marijuana a couple of times and changed it to cannabis. I think they're trying to make a distinction there. And I'm sure there is a distinction too, but I'm just laughing because I said distribute earlier too, so that's not the best word to use for this, probably.
So just a question, if by chance there were changes that came that we needed to implement in the document, would we still be able to proceed and vote again next month, or do we got to start all over again and do another read for it?
No, I think what we have here is going to hopefully pretty much be it, but if it does change, we can still do our final read at the August school board meeting, and the board can decide which way they want to go with it.
Okay.
Yeah, I'll be surprised if there are big changes. I think the Department of Ed thinks they've answered all the questions the legislative committee had for them, so.
Okay. And Dr. Kendall, just maybe for you, do we currently have students that have prescription drugs that we do keep under lock and key that is not cannabis?
Yes, we do.
At all levels?
I would say it's fair to say at all levels, yes, elementary, middle, and high school. And we've been doing it for quite a while, and yes, a lot of it's under lock and key. We have had parents come and give the medication, but I think that has become less and less, especially with a lot of parents working. It's hard to do that. So I think our challenge will be that if you can't tell an employee that they're going to do it, and we pass something that says that we would administer it at school, then it comes down to, well, who will do it if you can't tell them they need to administer it, versus just having somebody come in and do that for them. So we'll take this up again at the August school board meeting, and if there are any changes, I'll make sure you get them as quickly as I get them, and we can make that decision in August.
Thank you. So now we'll move on to the next item on the agenda, the 2021-2022 budget hearing. I'll turn this over to Mr. Beeds.
Sure. So as per state law, we are required to publicize or publish our preliminary proposed budget, which we have done. It was ran in the Press and Dakota on Saturday, also attached here in board docs. And what you see is the 30,000-foot summary of the budget, which I'm not going to go through here tonight, but presented by fund level and organized by functional area. So both the means of appropriation and the proposed budgets are in place. And as I said, we have published to meet the requirements. So this would be the time to conduct our hearing. And then as a follow-up, if there is no comment, or even if there is comment, as a board action item, then we would ask you to set an adoption date for September 13th, which would be our regular school board meeting in September this year, to formalize and adopt our budget, set our levies, and finish the process. So with that, this would be the time to open our hearing.
So I'll open the school district budget hearing for any comment. Going once? Hearing none? I'd look for a motion.
I will move that we set the budget hearing or the adoption date for September 13th, 2021.
I'll second.
Any discussion? Roll call, Jason?
Greenaway,
Yes.
Crandall,
Yes.
Sarda,
Yes.
and Sternquist.
Yes. Next item, request for consideration of pickup points.
I can take this one as
okay.
well, if you'd like just a few comments. This is an annual request from the Gayville-Volland School District for pickup points that are within the municipality of Yankton. So this is the same pickup points that have been approved in previous years as submitted by Superintendent Selchert in a letter to Dr. Kendall. And it is our recommendation to once again approve the pickup points for the 21-22 school year as presented.
Do we know how many students are so affected by this?
We really don't, because they're not enrolled in our student database, so we don't know how many students that is. You know, we can, I guess, speculate. They do. Our bus drivers see their buses, and, you know, we just know that they're coming into our school district, and of course our patrons in our community see the buses. But the fact of the matter is, state law does afford that, and that's in their school district to do that, so we just have to mutually agree on the pickup points. And we've established, you know, what's presented here tonight as the safest and most effective way of accomplishing that and being able to serve the students of both school districts.
Mr. Beets, have there been any issues whatsoever with student pickup that we know of? I'm sure that if the businesses didn't want it, they wouldn't have signed the letter, or if there was, they would have went back to Gayville and not to us.
Yeah, I mean, the points that we have established here, like I said, have been in place for several years now, and there are letters of support on file. from those businesses. So the property owners, we made sure to contact them. Actually, it's the responsibility of the Gayville-Volland School District to contact them, which he has done. And so there was a time, you may recall, a few years ago where we did send a bus into Gayville, and we did the same thing as a reciprocal, contacted the property owner, and it just didn't make sense for us to continue doing that anymore. So to answer your question, there's no problems, and the property owners have granted permission. So I would recommend we approve as presented.
I move to approve Gayville-Volland bus pickup drop-off points for the 21-22 school year as presented.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Do we have any discussion? Seeing none, roll call, Jason?
Crandall?
Yes.
Greenaway?
Yes.
Sarda?
Yes.
And Sternquist.
Yes. Next up, we have summer projects. Mr. Reinhardt will address this.
Good evening. Our high school front project is about 85% done right now. The teacher entry in the back here, we had a little bit of delay. We've had some delays in a couple areas due to our irrigation lines being hit. We were set back, we're probably 4 days back right now. We're 25% done. Today they got the fill put in, they just have to compact it, and then they can start pouring concrete. The high school carpet, the music rooms are done. They've started to tear out on the upper floors, removing the carpet from there. The rigging inspection was done yesterday, or on Friday. The basketball court refinish is 100% done. The goalposts at Crane Youngworth are 100% done. As I said last month, the sidewalk at the administration building is 100% done. The roofing project, we've hit a stall in it. It's outside of our control. We're waiting the membrane delivery to the Blackhawk Roofing. There seems to be a shortage of trucks for making deliveries. They've got it, it's on their order. They can't get a truck to make a delivery to them. So I talked to them Friday. They said, we're looking, if we can get a truck, maybe about the 21st start working. They can have the job done in 2 weeks. The middle school cafeteria tile project is 100% done. Stewart painting is 100% done. The track project, we're about 2 days behind due to irrigation again. We found that our irrigation maps were not right. The irrigation is not where it says that it is at. We had to completely reroute our water line for feeding to the inside of the track to the outside of the runways. And in the process of trenching, we hit our main line well water. We're about 2 days back right now behind on that. They got the runways poured today, so, and with a little bit of the rain delays, we're only 2 days back. We really busted some butt, and the maintenance department has been all over fixing lines, rerouting lines, and getting things back up to try to keep things back on schedule. I have those guys running hard. I feel bad for them. As was said, the Lincoln Playground safe surface is 100% done by our maintenance department. The Webster soccer area, done by our maintenance department, is 100% done. We have a little stall on the beetle closet doors. They sent us the wrong doors. They had to reorder them. We're waiting for that truck with the right doors, and we're going to swap doors with them. Chad is refinishing or staining the ones that are correct right now so they can go up. The beetle room, being I've tasked the maintenance department so hard fixing irrigation, we still got to work on the drop ceiling there. And the Webster shelving is 100% done. Those are all of our real big projects. We have a lot of little projects going on in other areas done internally. Do you have any questions of the projects we're doing this time?
Jim?
Yes, sir.
Maybe just a comment on the middle school back parking lot. I know it's on here. Just a comment about that, please.
Yes, the middle school back parking lot, the asphalt is very dry and very old. Our estimates are that was laid probably in about 1966 over dirt. So it's gotten very dry and very brittle. You need to recoat asphalt every so many years. It's gonna cost a lot of money. We're putting into a plan to do a complete rebuild down the road. But to fix it now, so we don't lose all of our asphalt, I've got an estimate and a plan in place, but we just gotta lock them down when we can get to. A lot of these contractors are super busy and locked down with bigger projects, and we got on this late. This could be a fall project. The plan is come in and mill out our really bad areas, which is pretty much the eastern side of the lot, lay new asphalt in those areas, and we're gonna do a double chip seal. Now, a double chip seal will seal up that lot, will buy us anywhere from 5 to 8 years' time, as long as we control any cracks that show, any fissures, and just refix those areas and maintain them. That'll give us about 8 years before we can fix them. We're gonna do a single chip seal of the loading ramp area, because the asphalt's in good shape, but it's dry. So we're gonna do a double or a single chip seal there to keep it from getting worse. That plan, once we get locked down, the contractor has our contractor already. It's gonna be probably a fall job. Chip seal, when you chip seal, you have to be 70 degrees or warmer to lay it. Our real opening window is our first real school break is October 22nd, but we're playing Russian roulette with weather. So our plan is probably close half the lot, let them mill off what they need to mill, close off the other half of the lot, mill that and lay new asphalt. Then possibly, I was talking discussions, asked them if they could work on a weekend. He said, we'll look at that, or if we have an opening. Possibly doing a double chip seal on a weekend and getting that done. That, like I said, will buy us 5 to 8 years.
Jim, do we have to bid that project?
This is basically like an emergency repair. We got
And even at that, Terry, the threshold has been changed now to $100,000. So the estimate on this particular work is 68, so we're within threshold.
Yep.
But it's still always a good idea to get competitive quotes, which of course we've done. And like Jim said, in the interest of timing, contractors with all of the stimulus monies that are out there and projects, it is really difficult to get even proposals or estimates back from contractors. So we're really fortunate that we do have one, and we can potentially get the work done yet this fall, which, you know, Jim and I have talked with Dr. Kendall a couple of times. If we go another winter without addressing this, it's gonna be really obvious in the spring. We might not have 5 years of life. We might be rebuilding it sooner rather than later.
Yeah, if we run our blades across here this winter, how brittle that is, we won't have to have them come mill it off. Our snow plows will push it off.
Who's the contractor?
It'd be top coat. Any other questions?
Thank you for keeping us in line so we can get back to school in the fall.
Thank you.
Next item is appointing standing committees. The committees have been appointed for personnel and negotiations would be myself and Mrs. Greenaway, and finance would be Ms. Sarasarda, and buildings and grounds would be Mr. Crandall and Skiefer. So I would entertain a motion.
I move we approve the standing committees as appointed by our president.
Second?
Any discussion? Seeing none, roll call. Jason?
Crandall,
Yes.
Greenaway,
Yes?
Sarda,
Yes.
Sternquist.
Yes. And the last item is adjournment.
Motion to adjourn?
Second?
All those in favor?
Aye.
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 I'm good, how are you?
Okay, yep, no problem. Have a good night. Bye.
Hey, John, you want to go ahead and pack up? Oh, that's really hot. You want to go ahead and head out, John? I'll pack things up. We'll see you in the morning. See you at Webster in the morning.
gotta do discussion. Oh yeah, I forgot, we gotta do.
Get that first one under your belt, and you can just kind of chill down, and then the next time it'll just flow right.
Yeah, next one will be a great meeting anyway.
Yeah, that's only the first 12.
Get me on the record, oh Lord. Okay.
Good, how are you doing? Oh, that's a little different story. Did you hear what I told you? No. Holy hell.
She was having a moment.
Propane?
She's like, that's not cheaper.